Hello folks, today our topic is how to use analogies for powerful, effective writing. No matter what you are writing, a novel, stories, a technical document, business document. If you want to write powerful prose, analogies always help. Listen to what Albert Einstein said. I love this quote. He said, "You see, wire telegraph is a kind of a very, very long cat. You pull his tail in New York and his head is meowing in Los Angeles." Do you understand this? Asked Albert Einstein. And he continued, "And radio operates exactly the same way. You send signal here, they receive them there. The only difference is that there is no cat." I think that's a perfect analogy to communicate, to explain a rather complex idea. If you draw parallel elements in seemingly different things, you can establish analogies and write very interesting articles and prose. Such parallels add depth to your writing and enrich its aesthetic value. By drawing an analogy between two objects, processes, situations, you create a mental picture that did not exist before, and people remember that picture. You thus create a new evaluation that did not exist before. Now, here's an example. Let's take gourmet coffee and freelance writing. First, you may say, what those two have to do with each other? But both have real serious quality control problem, right? Imagine a writer who makes a name for herself as a political commentator, and she starts writing crime novels. And this might be okay. If you remember, there are quite a few journalists who write novel stories on the side. Jim Lehrer comes to mind. This would be analogous to a gourmet coffee shop serving tea besides coffee. Different products, but not that terribly apart. But what if a political commentator starts to write a celebrity gossip and obituaries? Wouldn't you have a question mark as to what this person is doing and what kind of a writer he or she is? And if the divergence is too much, if the writer goes off to a totally unrelated topic, you may start to distrust both her political and celebrity gossip columns. This is analogous to a retail coffee store starting to serve omelets, pea soup, and stir-fry wok dishes. Wouldn't you ask, what kind of a coffee shop is this? They are serving everything. Actually, if you read Starbucks story, at one point they started to serve hot sandwiches, warm sandwiches, and that created a lot of question marks on the board of directors of Starbucks, because instead of the traditional rich coffee aroma in the store, they started to have aroma, fragrance of sandwiches and other products that did not go well with the brand of the company. So the need to specialize in one thing and do it better than everybody else is an issue both in freelance writing and in gourmet coffee. Now, let's continue with more analogies. How about raising babies and bicycling? Both require control. Mom or dad controls the baby, cycler controls the bike. Both require stamina, a lot of long-term stamina. Moms usually, they need to stay up whole day and then whole night trying to calm down a crying baby. A cross-country cycler or a Tour de France competitor also needs to remain vigilant and hang in there as long as the race is on. But being mom continues for years. It doesn't finish in 2 hours in a day. And whereas cycling is a more start and stop sort of affair, and mobs don't have that luxury. So the analogy will have, in general, analogies do have their limitations. So you have to be aware of that. How about you can say with some poetic license that every uphill is followed by a downhill, both in cycling and child rearing. So the possibilities are definitely there. How about singing and writing a screenplay? Well, both have their rules. You need to follow a genre and format, both when you sing and when you write a screenplay. A singer needs to observe the conventions of his or her genre. A country singer can't really sing a song like an opera singer, or a Middle Eastern lament, or a Japanese kabuki aria. That would be real weird, and listeners would react strongly to it, negatively to it. A screenwriter who writes film noir would similarly can't crack 10 jokes a minute. I mean, it's not comedy, it's film noir. There's no place for pratfalls and pie-in-the-face slapstick comedy. And success in both depends, to at least some measure, depends on luck. After a singer sings a song and finishes a track, he or she doesn't know how well it will go. There are so many variables, beyond control. Same thing is with a screenwriter. To this date, nobody knows why some of the best screenplays produce box office bombs, and some really bad scripts end up as financial success. Remember William Goldman, the legendary screenwriter whom unfortunately we have lost lately. He said in one of his famous books that in Hollywood nobody knows anything, namely God knows what makes a successful screenplay and what does not. So these are some of the possibilities, and let me suggest you even more analogy suggestions. How about these? For example, playing the guitar and playing the stock market. There are lots of common and uncommon dimensions, variables there. Boxing and business, right? Cooking and football. How about that? Can you cook a play, or can you have a touchdown when you finish cooking a very difficult and interesting dish? Learning a language and mountain climbing. Maybe that's a lot more obvious. And catching cold and falling in love. Don't they sound similar in general? So use your imagination, be brave, don't hesitate to go in directions that you haven't gone before. Adventure and sense of discovery, finding something new, presenting a new image is all in the beauty of writing. I wish you good luck and catch you in the next video. Take good care.